Which architect are you going to choose? There's so many options. There are so many choices to be made when you are planning and starting your home improvements project. So, how are you going to choose the right architect for you? Let's get into that. I'm going to cover the 3 different types of architects today and explain to you the pros and cons of each of them and which one, so that you can be empowered to make the right decision for you, which one is going to be right for you. And you might want to know who I am. I'm Jane Leach. I'm an eco-home architect. I'm a chartered architect, and I specialize in helping eco-conscious homeowners to make their home, create a home that makes their heart sing, their existing home. Usually I work with people who own an older property built prior to 1930, really. So if that's you, then this is particularly going to be of interest. And if that's not you, this will also be interesting because I'm going to help you to make the right decision for you and give you information that nobody else is really talking about. So let's get into this. There are 3 types of architects. And the first type of architect is the architect that I think you need to be really particularly aware of, and that is the fake architect. Now, there are many people who claim to be able to do exactly what an architect does, and they will probably be recommended to you as an architect. And if you dig a little bit deeper, what they will actually say is, if you say to them, for example, are you an architect? What they'll say is, oh, I'm basically the same as an architect. I do everything an architect does. This means they are not an architect. So to make sure that you are actually working with an actual architect, then you need to check that they are registered as an architect on the Architects Registration Board. That is how you know that you are actually working with an actual real architect. Now, a fake architect might be the right person for you to work with on your project. That's possible. So who are the fake architects? So fake architects are not bad people. They're just not architects. They are parading themselves as architects mostly because they have construction knowledge, they have skills, experience, they are professionally qualified, many of them. They just aren't qualified as an architect, and they may have some training as an architect, but they won't have completed that training. And what does that mean? That means that often they think that what an architect does is easy. The design part of the construction world looks, to someone who's not trained in it and who doesn't really know how to do it, looks like the sexy part, the easy part. Who doesn't like to play and design and get creative? Yeah. So those people tend to be, fake architects tend to be people with a background that is very technical. And they think that the arty-farty creative designy bit is the easy bit that, you know, anyone can do, which is not true, but that's what they think. And so they will put themselves out there as being able to do it. And that means that, okay, they might be right for you because they won't be able to design you a very unique and special project, but what they will do is they'll give you a very generic, very standard solution to give you what they think you need. And it will be buildable, it will be very standard. So any contractor who works on domestic work will be able to do it and build it, and you'll be able to get it done. So in terms of actually achieving it, it will be possible and it will be easy. And their design fee will be very low because they're actually not spending any time designing at all. All they're doing is drawing a solution that is probably copy and pasted from a previous solution that they did before to a very similar house as yours. So that is an option for you. It's like taking the Primark option when you're buying a pair of jeans rather than the designer or the Levi's, the diesel jeans. You're getting the Primark or the Tesco jeans, and that might be fine for you. That may, you know, you may be, that's all that you want. The thing comes is that actually, in terms of building, say it's a house extension, building a house extension that is bog standard generic design still going to cost you thousands of pounds, probably tens of thousands of pounds to build that house extension. But the quality of the design is not going to be as good as if you worked with an actual real architect. And yes, you're going to spend a bit more on the design, but you're going to, it's in relation to the amount that you're spending on the building of it, and then the amount of that you enjoy it afterwards, the quality of the space that you have, the beauty of that space is going to be much greater when you work with an architect. And so for the sake of saving a couple of thousands of pounds at the beginning from a design point of view, compared to the actual cost of the build, then you are overall, you're probably not going to save very much money. It might be a bit faster because they're not spending any time doing any sort of design. So they're just going to draw something quickly, tell you that's the solution, and you can get on with it, and that's it. That's pretty much what they do. So you know, it could be quicker. It could be a quicker way to do it, and you know, it could be buildable. So you just need to make sure if you are wanting to go down that route because you don't really care about the quality, you just want a standard design and that will do you, that's all you need, then fine, the fake architect may well be right for you. Just check what actual qualifications they do have, because it can be very variable, and you know, the more qualified they are, the better. Basically, you want someone who's got more qualifications and is insured to do the work that they are saying that they can do. At least get somebody who's insured so you're covered if something goes wrong. Now, if you think, okay, fake architect, no, that's not for me. I do want something that is a bit more special, is actually right for me, that is designed specifically for me and is not bog standard, basic, generic design, then you're probably going to go, okay, I don't want a fake architect. I do want to actually work with a real architect. So here's where the question is, like, which architect to go to, because there are many, many, many architects that you can choose from, and I am just one. And so there are two different processes that an architect can go through to help you to get to that end solution. And there is the traditional architect. The traditional way that architects are trained to design is that they are given a brief, you know, told what the outcome needs to be by the client, and then they go off and they create a design that answers that brief, and they come back, show it to the client, have a chat, and maybe there's some adjustments to be made. They go off, make the adjustments, and that's it. That is how architects typically work, and it's an iterative design process. Now, what happens though, if as a client you haven't told your architect very clearly what it is you want, maybe you're not sure exactly what it is you want. When I started working as an architect, I heard in terms of started working with homeowners as an architect, not prior to that, I heard many clients say to me, we're not really sure what we want. What do you think we should do? We think we'll know when we see it. We don't know really, but we'll know when we see it. Now, in my previous to working with homeowners life, I worked on huge multi-million-pound high school projects, so building new projects, new big projects. And what would happen for those projects was I would be given a brief, and it would be a huge stack of ring-bound paper, a massive, very detailed brief. I would have to read through that, get my head around it, get clear on that. What does all of that mean? And then how do I translate all these words in these into a beautiful building, a design, a spatial design, a solution that delivers everything that's in there as a three-dimensional space where people can actually use and enjoy. So that is what an architect is trained to do, is to go from this brief into a design, that translation of what's required, what you want the outcome to be, that big vision into a design of a space. That is the design process. That's what architects do, and that's what fake architects don't do, because they don't know how to do that typically. So what comes down to how you approach that. So when I started to work with homeowners, and I discovered that homeowners very rarely have construction experience, very rarely have they spent time to create this vision and write it all out and make it very clear to me exactly what they want. And so I would go and I would meet with homeowner, and we'd have a chat, and I'd ask lots of questions and try and figure out what they wanted. And then I'd go away, and I'd, based on what I understood from that half an hour to an hour chat, I'd go away and I'd design that. That's the traditional way that most architects working with homeowners work. They'll go away, they'll do a design, and it will mostly be based on their own assumptions about what is best, because a 1 hour, half an hour to an hour chat is not very much time to really get clear on what you really, your deepest desires, what you really want from your home. It's just not enough time. You can't get deep enough. You can't get enough information in that short period of time to be able to base an entire design on that. So then it comes the iterative part. So what then, you know, as an architect, you go away, you create a design, and you come back and you're excited about the lovely design you've created, and you show your client, and you as a homeowner, you get to see these plans, and you're like, okay, what's going on? You're getting your head around it, trying to visualize how does this plan work in 3 dimensions? What does that mean? And you may think, actually, that's not really what we want. Doesn't answer all these questions, doesn't give us all these things that we were hoping to achieve with our home. So you have a conversation as you are discussing this design. You have this conversation and you'll talk about some extra things, and through that process, the architect will get to know more about what you want, get to understand better how this design needs to be in order to deliver what you're looking for. And so the architect will go away and redesign that plan. Now, it may be that they start from scratch, or it may be that they just make some tweaks and alterations, and then they'll come back and repeat that process. Now, this can then go on and repeat multiple times, and I'm bouncing because I'm sitting on a Pilates ball and that's what the bouncing is. But this happens over and over and over and over again. So and that's where it's iterative, the iterations, it's multiple times. Now, what will have happened is that you will have got your architect to give you a fee proposal, and that fee proposal will be for 1 design and 1 amendment. And the reason that architects charge like that is because they don't know how long it's going to take. It could take that could be it, 1 design and 1 amendment, or it could take 6 months worth, a year's worth, 2 years worth, longer. It can take a really long time to actually get to the end where you are happy with the design that your architect has created with you. And that comes when the architect has understood you well enough and got enough information from you and worked through all the ideas with you and got to a point where you have design that you're happy with, or you've got to the point where you're like, right, we've spent enough on the design, this is going to have to do, because we are not going to throw another 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pounds on redesigning this, because that's as close as we're happy with that. That'll do. We don't want to make it, we're not sure it's exactly right, but we're not spending more on the cost. We just want to get it built now. We're fed up of this process. We want to get it built. That is the iterative design, and it's very frustrating. It takes a really long time, and it can cost a lot of money. But that is the traditional way that architects work, because that's the way that we are taught to work, and we are also taught to take a brief and translate that. And so very rarely do homeowners know how to create an architect's brief. So if you are able to create an architect's brief, then you can shortcut that iterative design process, because you can make it very clear to the architect what it is that you want, and they have a really good amount of information to be able to design based on. But very few architects know how to help the homeowner that they're working with to do that. And so that is a struggle for both the architect and the homeowner struggles in that situation. And most architects have not thought through how they can help the homeowner, inform them better. Some have created these like little questionnaire, and there'll be like a little list of the rooms that you want, and you tick off which ones you already have, and you tick off the extra ones that you want, those kind of things. Or you might just kind of list out the things that you like about your house and the things that you don't like about the house. Those are a good start. And it is important. It's very important if you with anybody that you work with, it's very important if you choose a fake architect, if you choose a traditional architect, it doesn't matter who you work with, or the third kind of architect that I'm going to tell you about. It's very important that you have a very clear vision about what you want. And so having that idea of like, we don't really know what we want, but we know when we see it, that's not going to deliver what you want ultimately. So you need to be very clear about what you actually want. And so to do that, you need to create a vision for your home and how you want it to be. I can help you to do that. I have a free checklist that you can get to download, and that will give you some of the very basic things that you can ask, and exercises that you can do that will give you a huge head start, and it will help you a lot more than most architects will in terms of creating a vision. And then with my own personal one-to-one clients, I also have other ways that I do a much more in-depth visioning, and I do have some visioning workshops and programs where if you want to do that deeper envisioning process in order to actually get a project that you really love, that really works for you, and to cut short that whole iterative design stage, then you can find out more information. But start off with getting that get the free checklist first of all, and have a taster of that and see how that goes for you. I'll put the link in the description. So once you've got the vision, you can then work on iterative design process. But like I say, it can cost you a lot of money, and it can take a long time to actually result in the design that you're happy with. And you can shortcut it by having a vision, a really clear vision. But if you don't have a vision and you're just expecting your architect to come along and ask you the right questions and for them to really understand you in sort of kind of like mind read, or have some kind of like, greater godlike wisdom about what's best for you and how you should live your life, like if that's what you want, if you just want to be told how to live your life by some random architect, some old dude who doesn't live anything like you do, then that's fine. You can do that. That's no problem. Now, the third option is a more innovative approach, and this is the approach that I have decided to take because I've tried the iterative design approach. I haven't tried the fake architect approach because I'm an actual properly qualified architect, and so there's no point, I don't need to do that. But the actual iterative design approach and the visioning side of things, those to me, I tried the iterative stuff and it just was so frustrating for me. I got really frustrated and I was not comfortable that this was right for my clients. I didn't want my clients to be waiting months and months and years for us to finally get to a design that they were happy with. And I wasn't comfortable charging them for all this redesign, which was, that's my money mindset issues. But I did not want to charge for redesigning because it was like, but why can't we get to a design more quickly? I can design a huge multi-million-pound high school in a matter of weeks, a couple of months at the most, and we can get started on site. And then, but we're home, like a much smaller budget, a much smaller scale project, and it could take months and years to actually get to a design that was right. There's something wrong there. And the thing that was wrong was that I needed to figure out how to help my clients to tell me what they wanted. So that's what I did. I created a visioning process. I created the Eagle method, and this is what I do with my clients to help them. And so that's what you will get a taste of that if you get the free Design Your Home Vision checklist. That will explain to you what the Eagle method is, how to do it, and give you a couple of taster exercises that you can do that will really give you a good start. And then what I do with my clients is a much deeper dive process. And I tell my clients, I want you to basically download your brain to me so that I can really understand you at a very deep level. And then I can design a solution for you really quickly. So the way that I work is a more collaborative, it's what I call a collaborative process. Because my background, or what actually got me started in architecture, was public consultation projects. So I would go into huge housing estates, and the practice that I worked with specialized in this big public consultation projects, where we would go and we would talk with the residents of massive housing estates, and we would get to understand what challenges they faced, what things they loved about the place that they lived. And we would really we would spend a lot of time with them, putting post-its onto maps and creating these big models and moving things around, and really getting to understand what they wanted, what they didn't want. And that process of consultation is where I got my love of architecture. That's what I actually did, that as in work experience before starting to study my GCSEs and my A levels. That was my first understanding of what architecture was spending time with people, getting to understand from them what they wanted, what they didn't want, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, and being able to ask the right questions and understand that very deep level of what they really needed, and then creating multiple designs, then discussing all these multiple designs and exploring all the options in consultation with multiple people. That takes a lot of time. It's very interesting, but with a one-to-one project with a person a bachelorette, or a couple, or a family, it's much quicker and much easier to do. And that's what I do, is I help you design your vision, and then I create many different options very quickly, sketch ideas, and we then collaboratively explore those together in a design session online. And that way we very quickly reach an idea of what it is that you want to do with your home, and get a design solution that is what you want to see, which then can be developed and refined further to make it actually work. But that's how I work. It's not an iterative design process. Initially, it's a collaborative design process, and it can become a bit iterative because iteration is kind of how design works. You know, you design a bit and then you just discover a bit more, and then you have to review the design and maybe make tweaks. So to some extent, you can't completely escape from the iterative design process. It does come in at later stages. But if you have a very strong vision in place and you follow a more collaborative design approach, where you explore things together and you work in partnership with your architect, then you can create a result much more quickly and much more in line with what you actually want. And what I find is it saves my clients money, time, and a lot of emotional energy, and delivers a much higher quality design at the end of the day. So that's what I believe is the best, but it may not be what's right for you. You may prefer a more standard design and you want to spend less on your design fees. You may want to work with a fake architect. You may want to spend the time going through an iterative design process because you're not sure what you want and you prefer to explore it in that way. And maybe you like the designs that architect does and has created, and you particularly want to work with the architect for some reason. Fine, work on the iterative design process. And if you want to do something that you know is going to help you to get really clear about exactly what you want and explore all your options much more quickly, and so that you can get to a result sooner that you know is right for you, then the collaborative design process may be better for you. If you're interested in working with me in a collaborative design process, I have 2 to 3 spots available each month to start with a new client with the foundation package, and that is where I will help you to create the design vision and to explore your options in a collaborative process, and then help you to double check those designs and make sure that it's the right choice for you. That is a way that you can work with me one-to-one, and I'll pop a link for both the free checklist and for the foundation package in the description. If you are interested in the design your home vision, there are other ways that I can help you to develop that, and you can then go and work with another architect rather than me, and you can go through the iterative process, but you can shortcut it by having a very clear vision that your architect can then work from, and they will be much more able then to design for you more quickly and as you want, using the iterative design process, but in a quicker way. So that's another option. But if you are interested in that, what I suggest is that you grab the free checklist and have a little taster of that. And I hope this has been really helpful. Comment below, what kind of architect do you think that you are going to go with? Which architect is best for you, the fake, the traditional, or the innovative? I can't speak. I hope that's been really helpful, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time. Bye for now.